Hello. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Now can you hear?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank God.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Great. Good. Okay. So some people have joined, and there are a few who may need to join, but I think we will take them later. So now, welcome back to the online mode again. now, now we have to go back to the online mode for a month, and after that there will be winter break from 24th till 10th probably, and then let's see what happens. So everyone pray for the situation to improvement in the situation. Um, so in last class we have discussed a lot about the course particularly. So I want to talk about that first. That how we should take it ahead because there are due to this synchronous or asynchronous modes and changing, we are having many problems. Many people suggested a lots of things in the last class, and I think I liked most of those. So let me share with you guys and see how you guys respond to that. Um, many people said that let's make a kind of kind of a weekly plan. I think we can call it what we call a portfolio or like that. So we can make something, some document, which have a weekly plan of activities and everything, the topics and etc. And then I can share that with you guys on Moodle probably, or maybe through email. Moodle I think will be preferable mode, and there you can add your suggestions and like that on that. And secondly, you will have a complete plan, complete weekly plan. So what other people think about it, or this lecture mode or way is fine?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good
I was
morning.
thinking about कि weekly plan is a good thing, क्योंकि Moodle पे हमें काफ़ी confusion हो रही है to sort things out. तो आपने बोला
Mhm.
था कि हम WhatsApp ग्रुप नहीं बना सकते due to privacy और confidentiality. तो
Yes.
हमारी जो दूसरी एक मिस हैं from another class, उन्होंने लाइन ऐप पे हमें
Mhm.
किया हुआ है सबको, रेंडेवू किया हुआ है. तो इट्स लाइक उधर लाइन ऐप पे हमें हमारे नंबर्स शो नहीं होते, तो प्राइवेसी
अच्छा.
होती है. हाँ जी. तो उन्होंने बेसिकली इसीलिए बनाया था लाइन ऐप पे
Mhm.
कि
अच्छा.
लोगों
That's
के नंबर
great.
शेयर ना हो. तो वो आप कहेंगी तो मैं वो सारा कुछ कर
हाँ.
लूंगा, लिंक बना लूंगा और
हाँ,
पूरी
जरूर
क्लास उसमें
जरूर.
मिल जाएगी. वो बहुत बेहतर हो जाएगा बिकॉज वी आर
That's a good
सो
idea.
वेरी कंफ्यूज. यस. और वीकली प्लान इज
हाँ.
अच्छा, बेहतर है.
ठीक हो गया. हम्म. बिल्कुल, तो ऐसा करें, उसका कोई लिंक वगैरह मुझसे शेयर कर दें. So I'll find out and we can do that on this way. Yes, we can do that.
यस, श्योर मैम, श्योर.
उसका कोई लिंक वगैरह होगा जो मैम ने दिया होगा, शेयर कर दीजिएगा. That is line app you're saying?
यस मैम, लाइन ऐप, और वहाँ पे नंबर्स वगैरह कुछ भी शेयर नहीं होता. और बस पूरा ग्रुप होगा बेसिकली,
Hmm.
बिल्कुल व्हाट्सएप की तरह है, लेकिन नंबर शो नहीं होंगे किसी को भी, किसी के.
Hmm. चले चले, that's good. That's a good idea. We'll do that. We'll do that. I'll ask you later personally that how to do that. ठीक है, फिर
यस,
हम आपसे कर लूंगी मैं.
यस श्योर.
It's Samuel. Okay. ठीक है. ठीक है. That's good. So from next time onwards, we will go by this weekly plan. That what are the topics and what are the activities, and then the page number, etc., so that you can go on a reading. So that will be a good idea. So everyone agrees to that, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
At least many of you. Good.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So thank you, thank you. So from next onwards, we will do that. But right now, I just review that what we have done in all the previous classes for you in a few minutes, and then we'll go for the next phylum. So what we have done yet, I'm just revising the topics for you. Though I'll add these to course plan as well, but still. First of all, we have talked about the principles of life, properties of life, and principles of animal life. This was there was there were few points on which we talked about, like biochemistry, how biochemistry is involved, how DNA is involved, and how other things, metabolism is involved, and like that. And after that, we jumped straight onto the animal diversity. Basically, that is one of our major topics. And we talked about the classification of animals, organisms first, and then we jumped onto the classification of animals. And two major groups we know are there: invertebrates and vertebrates. And we started invertebrates first, and we covered phylum Porifera first, which is the first phylum. We can say from lower side, the simplest animals. Then we talked about phylum Nidaria. Then we did phylum Platyhelminthes, and then we finished it with the phylum Annelida. So these four phyla we have done, and before that we have done those just a few properties of life. This is yet we have done till now, and now we are heading on to the next phylum, that is called phylum Arthropoda. And phylum after Arthropoda we will have to do phylum Mollusca and Echinodermata. Then we'll be finished. We will be done with invertebrate phyla, and then we'll jump on to vertebrates and so on. So today, so in a day or two, I'll share with you the weekly plan, and then we'll see how we can make a group or something. So today we are going to start with phylum Arthropoda. And one more thing for information. I think in the last class I have shared that activities, the deadlines for activities and the labs, that is important. Everyone is concerned. So for all the labs, for the first two labs, I have extended the date till 30th of November. And for third and fourth that we have done, I have extended the date till 15th of December. I did this. And for activities, the class activities that we have done, I already have extended same in the same way, extended the dates of the first two till 30th and the second two till 15th of December. And all these are posted already on Moodle. We check, and I have increased all the dates. So you can easily do the previous ones. And next will be planned as per our schedule that we will share, or we can say a portfolio or whatever you call it. In that plan, I'll share all those. I'll also add the dates so that you are clear about the dates. So now we go ahead with the presentation, the phylum Arthropoda. And now one more thing to share, the copyrights. Basically, this is not my own presentation. I borrowed it from a website who actually make this kind of presentations, and these are available for like openly available for anyone to use. So we are using this presentation. The phylum Arthropoda. I'm sharing my presentation. Okay, so phylum Arthropoda. Now I think everyone can see my screen, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So phylum Arthropoda, as you can see, there are so many different variable type of organisms here. Um, Here you can see some shell-like or shell looking like some shelled organisms. Here you can see different types of the crab group, the worm-like organisms, the transparent ones, spiders, dragonflies. A huge phylum it is. Phylum Arthropoda is a very large phylum. Arthropoda means jointed feet. Arthro means jointed, poda means feet. These are the organisms who are having jointed appendages, and this is their most important identification feature. So they are having appendages which are having joints. Here you can see in the diagram the joints in the appendage. You can see another joint. You may have observed the insects all around you, like bugs of different types, and you can see that their appendages, their feet or legs have joints. They have one joint, another joint, sometimes even more than two. They are having jointed appendages of the feet. That's why they are called Arthropoda. And this is the largest phylum of the planet. It's one of the largest. This is basically, this is said sometimes that um, it consists of 75% of all known species. If we talk about species, then the 75% of all known species belong to this phylum. It means they are um, the most widespread organisms. And secondly, this group is having the single smaller group of animals which are present on Earth are insects. Insects are arthropods, and insects alone make 50% of all the animal species among all animals. So it means that insects alone are making 50%. The remaining 25% are making the other arthropods, I mean, other than insects, and then the remaining 25% are all other animals. This much widespread they are. This many species they are having. So insects, what includes insects, spiders, crustaceans, millipedes, scorpions, ticks, mites, and very long list. Butterflies, the bees. There's a long, long list. We can say that they are the most successful phylum on Earth. These are the most successful organisms on Earth. And of course, there must be many reasons. We'll talk about the reasons in a while. They are ecologically diverse, very diverse in almost all kinds of ecological systems, ecosystems. They are present. Wherever we go, whether in forest, whether in very cold area, very hot area like desert, like Arctic places, like water, sea, land, trees, wherever we find any ecosystem, some or the other arthropods are there. So they are ecologically very, very diverse. Then, secondly, present in all regions on the earth. On earth, they are present almost everywhere. There is no one region where they are not present. They are adapted to, very well adapted to, I must say, air, land, freshwater, marine, even living in and outside other organisms like as parasites. There are many which are also acting as parasites. So they are present in almost all environments, the air, land, freshwater, marine, and even in other organisms, in or on other organisms. They are very widespread. Now, why they are so successful? There are certain reasons. Now, what are their reasons for success? Now, there are more, but the most prominent ones are here. Here you can see is a picture of a cockroach, which is a younger cockroach. Here you can see spider. So you can see variations. Jointed appendages, jointed here. So what is the first and foremost reason? The versatile exoskeleton. They are having very specific kind of exoskeleton. You must have heard of one statement always that if there is an atomic war, then and the whole world is destroyed, only one thing will sustain, and that will be a cockroach. And why? Because of its exoskeleton. So they are having versatile exoskeleton. Then their efficient locomotion. They have they have immense ability to move and quite very fast in almost all kinds of environment with the help of this jointed appendages thing. Then they have some particular kind of system through which they can actually respire through air directly. So they use actually air as a medium for transfer of gases. So air pipe directly to the cells, and we call it somehow sometimes call it tracheal system. Trachea means the tubes, the air tubes inside their body. Then number four, they are having highly developed sensory organs. They are having very high senses, high kind of we can say higher order senses. Um, that's why they can sense their environment very well, and of course can respond to in the same way. Then their complex behavior. They are having very complex behavior. You know, insects they make complicated colonies. Like you have seen termites, you may have seen honeybees. That how complex society they do have. Is the honeybee comb is a whole society. So their complex behavior, and then the metamorphosis is number six. Metamorphosis means that they, butterflies, for example, they first of all lay eggs. From eggs, the larvae appear, then a pupae are formed, and then the adult is. So they are having many life forms during their lifetime. Like any organism will go through a series of life stages, like eggs, larva, pupa, and then the adult. This also helped them out. Now let's talk about many of these one by one and elaborate on these. So first thing, the exoskeleton. Exo means outside. So they are having skeleton outside the body, the external skeleton. Um, Basically, this is not enveloped by a living tissue. This is outside non-living tissue, which is covering their inside part. This is meant for protection, basically. Number one, they are very highly protected in this way. For example, you may have seen that the cockroaches are coming out of those, drainage pipes or so, which are full of water and always water passing through, and even many dirty other kinds of things they're passing through there. But they still sustain. This is basically waterproof barrier. This is secreted by underlying epidermis. Actually, this exoskeleton is secreted by epidermis. What happened that epidermis have the ability to make and produce and secrete this exoskeleton. And this is a waterproof barrier. So if they are in rain, they won't be affected by the rain because of this waterproofing. If they are going down the water or even drainage like cockroaches, this skeleton helps them in we can say protection of their body parts which are inside this exoskeleton from the effect of water. Then this exoskeleton consists of chitin plus or minus maybe added calcium and lipoprotein. So it consists of lipoproteins, chitin, and sometimes calcium is added, sometimes it is not. So chitin, calcium, lipoproteins. This is the composition of skeleton. Then certain more modifications which are associated with this. Here you can see a diagram. We just talked about diagram that later. It can be site for muscle attachment. Mostly when it has to move its legs or other parts, it needs to move muscles. And those muscles are attached with this exoskeleton sometimes as well, which help them. And this exoskeleton also is associated with muscles. It means muscles can attach to it. Then energy stores. Sometimes energy stores are also associated with this exoskeletons, like different types of fat tissue or so. Sensory receptor. This is also a site for attachment of sensory receptors. Like bristles also are have to actually present inside, or you can say pass through this exoskeleton layer. This is also helping in gas exchange because there must be pores, because this is hard and non-living. There must be pores through which gases could be exchanged. Then the bristles are there. Let's have a look on this diagram. This is the epithelium, the basement membrane, epidermis, you can say. Why? Why? Because outside of it, otherwise this is the external most layer in other organisms. But because they are having another skeleton which is called exoskeleton outside this layer towards the outer side, this in this case this will be dermis mean layer, hyper means below. So this layer is actually below the exoskeleton. That's why in this case sometimes this is called epidermis. Then there is a thin membrane down there which is called basement membrane just below the hypodermis. Then you can see this whole big yellowish part is called procuticle. And then the upper part which is thinner will be called epicuticle. Epi means outside. Pro means the older somehow in between or like. So this is the in between layer. Then this is external most layer. And here you can see openings of the glands. Small dots are showing openings of the glands. Then the seta or the bristle-like hairs, which are you can see arising right from the epidermis and passing through this whole of the cuticle layers, and then the hair or the bristle is coming out of it. These are basically present for these are sensory organs. These are present for basically, for example, if deflection of wind is coming from, if wind is coming from one side, there is a wind of direction of wind towards this side, then they will move towards this side. If direction of wind is coming from this side, then this will deflect towards the other side, and this deflection causes we can say different type of activation inside the neurons down there, and can tell the insect that should it avoid that wind direction or not, and so on so on. So these are basically sensory in nature. Then is someone asking something or not?
Ma'am, it's clear.
Someone, okay, 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 so come back in. So exoskeleton, this is soft and permeable or hard. Sometimes this is soft and permeable, sometimes this is hard and impermeable. So both type of exoskeleton are present. Sometimes it is soft and permeable, permeable. In some organisms, this is comparatively softer. In some organisms, this is very hard and completely impermeable. Impermeable means that no liquid material can go inside like water or something. Now, between segments or body or appendages is thin and flexible. Now, this is also a very important point that between the segments of the body and appendages, this is thin and flexible. For example, upon the joints here, you can see this diagram. You can see joint here, joint here. Now, if this is hard on the joints, then this will not be able to, these organisms will not be able to move their joints freely. So, on joints, this is always thin and flexible. Secondly, uh, if you have observed any insect, you may have seen that they can very easily tilt their bodies in any direction. Now, if this is very hard on all places, then this tilting or movement will not be possible and will be difficult. So what happened? That here you can see segments. Here, this, this, this. So if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 segments, probably having. So when where the joint of the segment is present, in this place, it is also thin and flexible, so that they can move their body on joints as well. So not only they are moving or tilting the body or changing the directions upon the joints in the legs, but they can also tilt their body inside where the segment is ending and the other segment is starting. Before that, there is a small part where it is thin and flexible. This is an this is a very good and important property which help them in moving their bodies in various directions. And secondly, this is some sort of drawback that this must be shed to allow growth. This is some kind of disadvantage of this skeleton. That is that whenever they have to grow, increase their body size, then of course outside layer is hard, and of course this has to be shed. And we call this sometimes ecdysis or molting. I think everyone may remember molting in butterflies. Mostly in school time, we study that butterflies they mold. First of all, they make a larva, then they make a pupa, and then make adult. Different type, different stages of life. Someone have to when they have to grow. I mean, larva is when growing. Then when their size will have to be increased, at that time they have to shed the older exoskeleton and make a new. So this is some kind of drawback that it must be shed to allow growth. So whenever they have to grow, they have to shed their exoskeleton, and this is considered to be the reason that their size is comparative. This exoskeleton was not there, then these organisms may increase their size a lot, but they will not grow very big, and their size is really high. So they have to shed the older skeleton and make a new. And second drawback is this that this is relatively heavy. As you can see, let's go back to see the layers. See this many layers. So this is basically heavy. Because this is heavy, this also limits the size. And the organisms have to carry this weight all the time. So this is another drawback. So two drawbacks are there. That is, it must be shed to allow growth, and this is relatively heavy. Always animal have to carry this weight, and for that, of course, they have to use more energy. And the advantages that this is soft and permeable, and this is sometimes hard and impermeable, and give it immense protection from environmental hazards and from even enemies. And second advantage is that between the segments and the appendages, this is thin and flexible, so they can move their body segment wise and also by with the help of legs very well. So this is a huge advantage. And these segmented legs actually help them in movement in on various places. So two advantages, two disadvantages are there. And they have efficient locomotion. Basically, very efficiently they can move with the help of basically their jointed appendages. Um, the major thing that is involved in this are jointed appendages. Because I just go back to the diagram, previous one is better than this one. Here you can see that the legs are long, see, and in just single leg, which is starting from here. One joint, they're having many joints in their legs. And what's the advantage of this? Advantage is this that they can actually move around on all kinds of surfaces. Like if they are moving on sand, he's straight. But if they have to move on a rock, these jointed appendages help them a lot in climbing that. They have to go on a tree, on complex places where, for example, there are so many different people. The stones are there. There are ups and downs on all kinds of surfaces. These jointed legs actually help them in moving and moving faster. And in this way, they have this immense capacity to uh, to go into almost all kinds of regions and move there freely. And of course, when they move there freely, they can easily find their food and they can easily escape from predators. These are the two major functions that any animal has to do. So they can move from one place to other place easily, and that is for food, or that is maybe for escaping from predators. So they can do both very efficiently. Here, many mouth parts are shown. Of course, we are not directly touching this point a lot in lot much detail, but here you can see a few that they are having mandibles, the jaw, which is for crushing food. For food handling, they are having maxilla. Mandible is basically the lower part of jaw. Maxilla is the upper part of jaw. Then they have a second maxilla sometimes. And then so these are basically these and many more parts. And these are for touch, for taste, for food handling. These are the mouth parts of just one organism, which is called crayfish. This is one group of animals. So they are having different types of mouth parts, which help them in feeding, acquiring food, breaking it down, cutting into small pieces, crushing, and so on and so on. Now, the third important property is um, the tracheal system, air pipe directly into the cells. That here you can see in the diagram first. Have a look. This is the system of tubes in blue color. The bluish tubes, more and more and more, almost covering all of the body. Now, this system, this whole system is called the tracheal system. Trachea means tubes. We say trachea. This trachea word means tubes. This is a very efficient system for basically respiration, precisely for respiration. Now, what happened that all these trachea tubes is a complex system and very organized system of tube, as you can see. This is present on both sides of the body and covering and have branches extended towards almost all parts of the body. That there are first we start from openings. There are openings towards the exterior, which are called spiracles, and these pores are exposed outside the exoskeleton. So these spiracles are connected to the tubes inside. Here you can see on the upper side the dorsal trachea, dorsal main tube, and on the lower side the ventral main tube or the ventral trachea. So there are on the both lateral side towards the dorsal side there are two main trachea, main tubes. This is the one, this is the other, and on the ventral side here you can see which is slightly looking smaller but not smaller, it is actually on the other side. So the other one here and here. The dorsal trachea are there, ventral trachea are there, and then extended small tubes from both of them towards inside of the body. So spiracles enter these main tubes, then these small tubes, and of course air is entering through these spiracles inside and passing through all of these small and this whole system of tubes. Now all of these tubes are very close to the body tissues. So all exchange of gases takes place here with the help of this very efficient system of tubes. Now what's the advantage? For diffusion of gases, air is the lightest medium. We have blood. Blood is a thin medium. And when we are transporting, when our gases are transported from the inside our lungs, then they have to actually pass through liquids here, which are heavier. Here in these organisms, now the medium is air. So gases have to diffuse directly from air to the body tissues and back. That's why they are having a huge advantage over other organisms um, for very efficient exchange of gases. And this is one of the major advantages that they are having in surviving in almost all kinds of environments. So all those insects, they can easily uh, breathe by this system. You can see this is the system of respiration or breathing, and this is very very efficient. So the most of these organisms are having this tracheal system. But some which are in water, which are living in water, they also breathe through gills. So this is we are talking about all the terrestrial insects who are living on land and mostly living on land. There are very few who are living in water. They can breathe by gills. Again, what's the disadvantage of this? That it also limits the size. That's how I'm repeating. Previously, I said that due to exoskeleton, they are having smaller size. This is the second thing because this system actually cannot support a larger body like large animals or large human beings. This kind of tubes have to penetrate all parts of the body. This is very difficult that this kind of system develop in them because this will not be, I say, as penetrating as the blood vessels are probably. So that's why it also limit their size. That's why these organism arthropods are not very large in size and generally are smaller in size. So two reasons for which are limiting their size. One is their exoskeleton, and second is the tracheal system. So the fourth reason, highly developed sense organs. We have to cover actually the six reasons today. Then we'll talk about further characteristics later in next class. It's a large phylum, so we have to talk about them more in comparison to the others. So the fourth reason that they are very successful is the highly developed sense organs. They have sense organs for sight, touch, smell, hearing, balance, chemical reception. They are having many senses. They can say that they can sense the environment very efficiently. Um, they have good sight, touch, sense of smell, sense of hearing, sense of balance, chemical reception. Let's talk about a few. For example, I think I've shown you a seta. Seta means a bristle or hair-like structure which is coming out. Now look at the seta in more detail. If you have seen any insect closely, you see hairs are rising outside their body. These are called seta. Displacement of setae, for example, due to wind. For example, if some enemy is coming towards them or some object coming towards them, the displacement of theta due to that, uh, for example, pressure of the wind, initiates a nerve impulse in a receptor cell at its base. So if we see, this is the hair outside. Then down there, there'll be a receptor cell. This receptor cell is associated with the nerve fiber. So when this, and you can see that a small extension is coming out, and entering inside the bristle, in the seta. When the seta will be displaced, moved from its place, then what will happen? This there will be a displacement in this extension of the sensory cell as well, receptor cell as well, and then this receptor cell will send a message to the brain. It means that they are having a brain as well. So um, this will this displacement will actually tell the animal about the direction of any kind of enemy, the food, an object which is hindering it, or maybe just the direction of the wind, anything that it can disturb this animal, they will get this information through this theta and this network of receptor cells. Another example is the eye. They are having a complicated eye. It's generally called compound eye. So eye convert light energy into nerve impulses. Here you can see what happened. They are having a lens. And then there is a hypodermis, which is making an eye-like structure, which is associated with light-sensitive cells, many of them, and receptor cells, which are associated later on with through a nerve to the brain. So quite a highly efficient lens is there. And there's a series of lenses generally present. And if the series is present, we call it what we call a uh, complex eye or compound eye. Compound eye means that many of this kind of units are present in its eye. So what will happen? They can see the world like a mosaic that many images are joining together to make single picture ultimately. Um, then just like that, it is they are having senses of smell, hearing, balance, chemical reception, so on and so on, which make them again a very successful group. We took two examples, but there are more. Then their complex behavioral pattern is the fifth important feature, which is helping them in their success. They have complex organized activities. Like just recall everyone knows about the honeycomb, जो छत्ता हम बोलते हैं मक्खियों का basically. That is the honeycomb is a complete colony which have a queen bee. I think everyone may have heard of this. There is a queen bee, there is a king bee,
Yes, ma'am.
there are worker bees, and then there may be larvae. Yeah, so they are actually highly coordinated functions they are performing. Like queen bees laying eggs, making eggs, all those. Then worker bees, they are going and moving around and finding out the food, the nectar for them, and bringing back to the comb and giving it to the larvae and also storing it. Many of the bees are these worker bees are also for offense and defense. So whenever someone attacks their comb, they will go and defend it. So it's a very organized social organization. They are having these complex behavioral patterns, which again make them a highly successful group of animals on Earth. Then these behaviors, mostly innate or sometimes they are learned. Mostly the behaviors are innate. That is, for example, queen bee have to perform a function in a particular way, have to stay inside the comb, and the worker bees they will go around and find food, and also they will defend the colony whenever needed. Many of these behaviors are innate, that is unlearned. By birth they know it, or sometimes these could be learned if these are modified. Then these could be learned from their elders, and these could also be learned through training by human beings and other organisms, which are most probably human beings which are involved there. So they are having these complex behavioral patterns. This helped them actually surviving better. Very simple. What's the advantage? These behaviors are actually helping them surviving better. For example, bringing food from various variety of I say plants. Say for example, if one type of plant is not available, they'll use another plant for getting their food. If someone attacks them, they'll protect themselves. So these behaviors actually help them in surviving better in comparison to others. Then the last and the sixth point, they are having limited intra-specific competition. Now this is something very interesting and important. That different animals related to same species also have competition among themselves. Like if you see these different birds, for example, crows sitting in a row, and the food is available, limited food is available, then those crows will fight with each other to get that food. And in this way, they may hurt each other, and someone who are weaker, I mean, some of the birds, if they are weaker, they will lose the competition. Of course, the overall loss will go towards the whole of the species. They are having limited interspecific competition because they are having many forms of life in the same place. Like many of them undergo metamorphosis. Metamorphosis means they are having different types of states or forms during their life. They're having different stages like larva, adult, pupa. There is no competition among the these organisms or species. Like larva, they feed on something else. Pupa, they do not feed, they just stay inside and rely on the food which is stored by the larva earlier. The larva is found first, then pupa is found. It's not feeding, it's just sitting there. If larvae are there, they are feeding on other kind of things. If adult organisms are there, they are feeding some other kinds of things. And you can see larvae are living on other place. Pupae are living on another place. Adult is living on another place. This actually reduces the intraspecific, that is, competition between the organisms of the same species. They actually stop that competition because they are eating different food, they are living in different environment, different places. In the same, for example, on a tree, larvae will live on the leaves, adults will fly here and there, and pupae will hang on another place. So they are actually, this is actually to reduce the competition among them. There is no competition. And result, more animals or more organisms of the same species will survive better. I mean, will survive more. So this will again help them in being very, very successful organisms on. So this PPT have a few questions for you. You can look at these questions. So what is metamorphosis and why has it contributed to arthropod success? What phylum is most closely related to arthropod? ये आपने खुद ढूंढना है इनका आंसर. Which of the following is not an arthropod? Maybe more than one. Okay, I'll stop it here. So we talked about 6 characteristics. Let's have a look. Go back. The exoskeleton. Why they are very successful? And just I repeat that why we are talking about these reasons. Because arthropoda makes 75% of all known species, and insect, one of the group out of arthropods, make 50% of all species on Earth. So they are that huge. That's why we are interested to know why they are so successful. Number one, they're ecologically very diverse. They're present in every environment. Then they are present in all regions on Earth. And then we say that why they are so successful. We say there are 6 reasons. Their exoskeleton, their efficient locomotion due to jointed appendages, their tracheal system, that is system of air tubes for respiration, their highly developed sense organs. Because of that, they can actually sense the environment very well and respond to it very well, finding food easily, escaping from predators and everything. And their complex behavior, which help them in organizing their activity and protecting themselves, and limited intraspecific competition due to their metamorphosis in many life forms. So these are the 6 characteristics which help them in surviving much better in their environments. And this was the talk of today. Now I'm coming back for your questions if you are having any. G, if you are having any questions.
Ma'am, we have to submit this PDF.
No, this is just for thinking. This is just for thinking.
Are
I'll
we going
upload
to
this
have?
presentation.
Oh, okay, fine. Are we going to have a lab class, Zoom class? Like,
No, well, this is the last thing I have to tell you today. We cannot take the class directly, but I'll give you some virtual lab that you can do in the whole week. So you need not to come on Zoom or anything for the lab class. I'll give you something virtually, and you can do it. I
Uh,
think right now previous labs are yet to submit. So I say that in this week you submit those, and in the meantime I'll add another.
thank you.
Miss the
Yes.
activities that are already present on Moodle. Do we have to do it, or we just have to wait for the this week outline plan?
You do those activities first because I have extended the date till 15th of December for those so that you can do those easily because there was a communication problem again and again. So first you do those, and if when you're finished you can do the next because I'll extend the date for a week further. Like 15th के बाद क्या आएगी 16 17 18 probably 22 December 22nd of December will be the date for this activity that I'll upload in this week and second week. next week.
Okay, miss. Another question is that as we now
Yes.
all are on same page, the odd and even numbers, so
Hmm.
students, so जो activities है Moodle पे वो अब सबके लिए है कि वो
वो सबके
जैसे
लिए
आपने
है बिल्कुल।
स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन किया था कि A1
नहीं
के
वो,
लिए हमने नोट करना
हाँ नहीं वो तो इस तरह था कि if we were coming on campus, then those activities were to be done in this way. The two are on campus, two are online, and we will shift these whenever you know, you are online or you are not, or you are on campus. But now everyone has to do every activity. For the first one, there will be a problem because you have to take the pictures. Now I don't know how many of you were able to take the pictures on campus. That if you are not able to do that, you can do that at home on the rooftop or somewhere. So you can take pictures of pet animals or maybe the birds which were flying here and there outside. So try to do that. For the first activity, there is a problem. All others you can do. Next ones I'll plan in a way that you can do that at home easily. And after 11th, we'll see if campus is open, what we can do or not.
Okay,
So
miss.
right now there are four activities in lab, and you're supposed to do all the four. Now some people asked me for one more thing, that we were doing phylum. You know, you are drawing phyla, and we were drawing phyla, and so some people says that they want to submit the whole file collectively. I mean, they will draw all the file and then they want to submit. So I have no problem that you can also do that. For that, I'll make a separate lab assignment in which you can submit the whole of the Word file. That, for example, you want to make all the drawings of all the file, and then you want to scan it and submit the single file. So if you want to do that, you are allowed. I'll make a next assignment for that. If you want to do this just right now, as you can see that on Moodle, in this way, like two file in each file, you can also do that. I'll also put a guideline for that too.
Ma'am, how are attendance going to be marked?
Well, your attendance is marked because I'm recording my screen and I can see all your names and roll numbers which are appearing here. And but on the to be on safe side, I took a snapshot as well, a screenshot. So I have used the screenshot here, and I'm putting that screenshot in my Google Doc. So I have all your names there, right from Google Meet. So I already took your
All right,
attendance.
ma'am.
But I, of course, you know what happened that sometimes some people, internet is disconnected or so. So what I do, I take random screenshots, and secondly, of course, video is already there, so I can record that from video as well. For example, right now I am just taking a screenshot there. Anyone have a more question about today's presentation for Mathakoda? Who's saying someone cannot hear? Okay. No more questions? No one from nothing from any side? Okay, then I took your attendance and leave you for today. And of course, there'll be no lab class on site. I'll add an online lab on Moodle, but I'll do that in a day because I think yet previous labs have to be submitted by many of the students. So in 2 3 days I'll add. Probably till weekend I'll add the other one. Right now you do the previous one, so you have to do 4 labs already, which are quite enough. So if you do all those four, after that I'll add more and tell you in another class,
Okay,
and
ma'am.
maybe take a short session about that. This is possible that I ask you for coming for like half an hour or so for discussion on the lab. That there is if there is a problem in the lab, we can talk about it. Anyone else? Nothing, or we just simply say goodbye for today?
Miss,
जी.
yes, Miss, the last thing is कि वो जो ग्रुप बनाना है लाइन पे, वो
हाँ हाँ
बहुत अच्छा हो जाएगा एंड वो सबके लिए
हाँ
अच्छा हो
हाँ.
जाएगा, तो क्योंकि क्वेश्चन जब आते हैं कोई भी चीज़ के लिए, तो इवन के हम पीयर्स एक
ग्रुप में
दूसरे में,
अच्छा हो जाता है.
हाँ जी, तो वो मैं
बिल्कुल
शेयर
ठीक है.
कर दूंगा लिंक, और आपसे भी
वो
शेयर कर दूंगा।
मैं वो मैं आपसे ना व्हाट्सएप पर पूछ लेती हूँ.
ठीक है।
ठीक है.
यस,
आपके पास मेरा नंबर है.
यस मैम।
मेरा आपके पास अगर है पावर वाला नंबर है तो आई गेट योर नंबर फ्रॉम देयर. और वरना मुझे
या,
एक मैसेज कर दें मेरे नंबर पे, वो इजी हो जाएगा.
यस श्योर मैम।
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Samuel. I hope this will be helpful for all of us. Uh, Thanks for your suggestion. Okay, ji. So goodbye. Today's class is over. Uh, we'll meet inshallah next class. But if you
Allah
have any
Hafiz.
question, Allah Hafiz. If any one of you have further question, you can send me on WhatsApp right now. Okay. Goodbye. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz,
Bye,
ma'am.
ma'am.
अल्लाह हाफिज़ टू ऑल।
Allah Hafiz.
Bye
Allah
bye. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz, everyone.
See you off, ma'am.
See
Allah
you.
Hafiz, ma'am.
Allah Hafiz.